change.
London is hit with yet another terrorist attack.
And North Korea launches a missile over Japan. This is Murrow News 8.
From Studio B on the campus of Washington State University, this is Pullman's only nightly newscast. This is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Shannon Hecht.
And I'm Austin Getz. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
The air quality in Pullman is expected to decline, reaching a very unhealthy level by late tonight. Pullman police say they have masks available 24/7 in the Pullman police lobby, free of charge. The Freeman community is rallying to raise funds for the family of the hero who lost his life in the school shooting on Wednesday. Sam Strahan was shot and killed by a former classmate inside Freeman High School while confronting the shooter, Caleb Sharp. Sadly, this isn't the only tragedy the Strahan family has experienced in recent months. Scott Strahan, Sam's father, passed away from an accident in June, and that is when a GoFundMe account was created to help with college funds for his kids. Now, with only Miss Strahan and her daughter left, the family is asking for help again. The GoFundMe account has raised nearly $52,000 with an overall goal of $100,000.
A group of Washington State University engineering students are working on a project to improve a deadly stretch of road. Reporter Alfredo Llanos explains how the students are using public opinion along with data to improve State Route 26.
A group of engineering students at Washington State University are taking matters into their own hands in an attempt to improve State Route 26. Over the past 2 years, State Route 26 has witnessed over 65 accidents. As of today, only one construction project is set to improve the highway, but the project isn't set to break ground until 2025. The first of a series of open forums to gather suggestions from the public on how to improve safety just ended.
There's a string of fatalities, and the trend is similar for each one. It's something that can be addressed, and it's something that can be prevented.
The group of students are using data obtained from the Washington Department of Transportation to pinpoint exact locations on State Route 26 where most of the accidents occur.
When I talked to the group, they told me that at first they thought most of these accidents were caused by college students. However, when analyzing the data, this age group varied from 15 to 55.
Sheriff Brett Myers believes road construction is only part of the solution.
So I think every road could use some improvements. I think what also needs some improvement is people's driving behavior. And I think with a combination of a few more passing lanes and people just being more aware of how their driving affects other drivers and just obeying those laws, I think you can really bring those problems down.
The project set for 2025 will be a series of truck climbing lanes. However, the Washington Department of Transportation does not plan to add any passing lanes in the near future.
The highway itself, there's not enough traffic on that highway to warrant any widening projects. It is a rural two-lane highway serving a rural area and really does not have the traffic volume that warrants, the type of investments for widening.
The WSU State Route Highway Improvement Project will have its next forum.
Is on high alert after an underground blast during rush hour injured at least 23 people early this morning. The explosion in Parsons Green Tube is being treated as an act of terrorism. London Mayor Sadiq Khan said the people of London will not allow terrorists to affect their daily life. Authorities believe the blast was caused by an improvised explosive device. This is the 5th terrorist attack in the United Kingdom since the start of 2017.
The Japanese Prime Minister says the world needs to unite against North Korea and show them that its behavior will not be tolerated. North Korea fired a missile over Japan for the second time in less than a month. The missile flew about 2,300 miles and landed in the ocean. The Japanese government told people to take cover and stay away from what could be missile debris. People in Malaysia are calling for safer protocols in religious schools after a horrific fire at an Islamic boarding school yesterday that killed at least 23 people. 21 of the victims were identified as teenage boys. Investigators say the fire may have been caused by an electrical short circuit, but may have not reached a conclusion at the moment. Just over 1,000 fires have occurred in religious schools within the past 2 years. Further investigations are underway. When we come back, find out the latest in WSU sports.
Plus, we'll talk about the Cleveland Indians' historic win streak.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
The Oregon State Beavers are making the trip to Pullman to face off with the Cougars on the gridiron tomorrow. The Beavers have a 1-2 record and are coming off of a blowout loss to Minnesota. The Cougs, on the other hand, are 2-0 after defeating Boise State in triple overtime. Last week, Cougar quarterback Luke Falk is off to a slow start this year, but he's primed to get on track versus Oregon State. In his 3 career starts versus the Beavers, nearly 1,300 yards and 16 touchdowns.
The Washington State women's soccer team won a wild overtime match last night in Orem, Utah. The Cougars fell behind early in the match to Utah Valley University 2-0, but they continued to fight back. Maddie Harrow headed her second goal into the back of the net just as regulation expired, sending the match into overtime. In the second overtime, Morgan Weaver scored the game-winning goal in the 101st minute. The win improved WSU's record to 5-1-1.
The Cleveland Indians are celebrating a 22-game win streak after they beat the Kansas City Royals in extra innings last night. Jay Bruce hit a walk-off single in the 10th to lift the Indians into baseball history.
Ripped to right, down the line, fair ball. Around third, Ramirez will score. It's a walk-off for number 22.
By winning this game, Cleveland steps into second place, passing the 1935 Chicago Cubs for longest win streak. Surprisingly, this was the first walk-off in their 22 games and only the second time they have trailed in the 6th inning or later. The only other team ahead of the Indians is the 1916 New York Giants, but their 26-game win streak includes unofficial ties, so there's much debate whether this should count. However, the 2017 Cleveland Indians get to 27 wins in a row. There will be no debate on who holds the true record.
The 0-1 Pullman Greyhounds and Moscow Bears face off tonight on the high school football gridiron in a local rivalry game, which will take place tonight at 7 p.m. in Moscow. The Greyhounds are looking to rebound after losing to Fife last week, and the Moscow Bears lost their season opener to Clarkston. Both teams are hungry for their first win of the season, which promises to make this game an intense battle. Pullman won the game in a blowout last year, 52-7.
The White House is calling for firing of ESPN anchor Jemele Hill. During a heated conversation about a racially charged speech from musician Kid Rock, Hill took to Twitter saying, "Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists." After the statement hit the web, ESPN attempted to distance themselves from Hill unsuccessfully, even with the White House press secretary Sarah Sanders calling her tweet a fireable offense. Jemele Hill is a co-anchor of ESPN's biggest show, SportsCenter, and reports have said that the company tried to replace the anchor Tuesday, but couldn't as co-anchor Michael Smith refused to host the show without her. After Smith refused to do the show, ESPN reportedly sought out 2 other black anchors that also refused to do the show until eventually ESPN ran with the original plan of having Jemele Hill host the show, who also apologized for her tweets. Hill has co-hosted ESPN all week, but has yet to voice her opinion on this week's personal events. When we come back, Austin lets us know about the upcoming forecast.
Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Yeah.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
It's starting to feel cooler each morning as we get to the halfway point of September. Austin, what does our weekend weather look like? Getz has your weather forecast.
Well, Shannon, the weekend doesn't look too bad. It's next week that gets a little rough. But first, let's check out how it feels right now. Right out there, you have temperatures of 58 degrees as we're getting into the fall season. Today's high was 65. Partly cloudy today. And looking at your forecast for tomorrow, waking up to 63 degrees. It's going to warm up just a little bit by the time the Cougs kick off at 67. And then we're getting a little bit into cooler temperatures tomorrow. It's going to be 55 as we hit the evening temperatures. And let's look around the state of Washington today. You had 68 degrees in Spokane, just a bit warmer than what it was in Pullman. Partly cloudy there as well. In the middle of the state, you had Wenatchee up at 72, a bit warmer there, also dealing with some clouds, and then 75 and sunny in Yakima, but they are dealing with the effects of the smoke. They have an air quality alert in effect. Moving over to the 5-day forecast, Sunday it's going to be 72 and partly cloudy. Could rain overnight, and then we get into a stretch of 4 days of rain. Monday it's going to be windy and rainy with a high of only 56. Tuesday 56 and raining as well, and then Wednesday our third day in a row with some rain and 56-degree temperatures. And then Thursday, rounding out the 5-day forecast, it's the warmest weather of the week, but still going to see a lot of that rain. So there's a chance we'll get a chance to wear a jacket, Shannon.
When we come back, we'll give you the latest on social media trends.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
No more pencils, no more books.
No more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out
For summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org because great things happen when we live united.
The first satellite to relay discoveries of Saturn's moons back to the Earth is gone. NASA scientists are bidding farewell to Cassini, a spacecraft that spent farewell to Cassini, a spacecraft that spent the last 20 years trekking through the rings of Saturn. Around 8 o'clock this morning. Along 8 o'clock this morning, Cassini disintegrated into a blaze as it entered Saturn's atmosphere. But it was a move that NASA saw coming.
Here in Pullman, this is the month where students strut down the Terrell Mall modeling puffy jackets with pumpkin spice lattes in hand. But in Los Angeles, 'tis the time for celebrities to bare their shoulders and flaunt shiny trophies instead. This Sunday, the 69th Primetime Emmy Awards will go live from the Microsoft Theater.
Thank you for joining us on Murrow News 8.